Class 10th, Domestic Violence Against Women. This discourse is related to Unit 3 B reading. In this poem, Imtiaz Dakar, she says that every moment, every minute, we find a woman committing suicide or being set ablaze, especially in Indian context. In the whole world, if we see, always some people being troubled. Okay, so now let us see how what is domestic violence and why it is to be addressed. Okay, so we find in this poem a woman who went to the market to buy some vegetables. She thought of buying good fresh vegetables and she was willing to buy radish. She was relishing the taste of radish in her mouth. But when she counted the cost, she did not have sufficient money. So, what did she do? She has brought methi, and with that methi, she wanted to cook the meal. So, when she was making the curry, what happens? Her mother in law came home and she was observing how this particular curry is made and why did she bring all this. So thinking, she started scolding the lady, daughter-in-law. Did your mother teach you this way of eating? And if you eat everyday curries like this, all the property will be spoiled or it will be gone. It will vanish. So saying, she was shouting at her. At the same moment, her husband also came. So mother-in-law was saying that daughter-in-law went to the market to buy the vegetables and see how she is extravagantly spending the money. So saying, she was scolding at her daughter-in-law. Then immediately her husband, he pulled out one firewood which is burning in the stove outside and hit the lady with the stick. So what happened then? From backside, mother-in-law brought some kerosene and she poured on that lady. And this lady was burned. She was set ablaze. We find domestic violence everywhere, every country, every situation, every place, whether it is educated or uneducated place. But most of the women, they are silent. They don't speak about violence. Silence is also violence. You should never be silent and you have to speak out. Okay? Unless you speak out, people will not know what is happening. So, this is a discourse of Unit 3 B reading Domestic Violence. So, next, what is domestic violence? Domestic violence is a pattern of abuse behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. It can include physical, sexual, emotional, economic, and psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. The term domestic violence is now commonly used. So, types of abuse. What are the different types of abuse? We find electronic abuse, physical abuse, stalking, verbal, emotional, and sexual abuse. And what is electronic abuse? It's also known as digital or online abuse. Any sort of abuse that happens on the internet via any device. It can include behaviors such as monitoring of social media profiles or emails. Abuse our social media such as Facebook or Twitter. Sometimes what they do is they will take the intimate pictures and they will uh, threaten the opposite person that they are going to post it on the Twitter or Facebook and try to abuse them. So, this sort of electronic abuse is to be stopped. If someone is experiencing physical abuse, you may be able to identify signs such as bruises or injuries. A person may also display behaviors such as expressing fear or unease when speaking about going home or flinching at loud noises. At home, they will shout, they will use unparliamentary language at home. Sometimes they are beaten, especially women. In this poem, we are talking about domestic violence against women. So, men, when they are beating the women, that comes as domestic violence. Okay, so beating is to be physical abuse or beating is to be avoided because that shows the injuries. Okay, abuse can affect anyone regardless of the gender, age, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or socio-economic status. It nowadays there is no limit for violence against women at any age. If you open internet, we find abuse of girl child at different levels and at different age groups. That has to be stopped, and we need to speak about it. If someone is misusing your money or stealing from you, or you are worried that this is happening to someone else, this could be financial abuse. There are signs to look out for, and there's support available. If somebody is financially snatched, or if the money what they earn is taken without the permission of the earner, then it is financial abuse. This should be stopped. Suppose if this is continuing, you can take the support of human uh, resource. Okay, so there are non-government organizations which will support and they will help the victims of domestic violence. So victims of verbal abuse, you will find many. This is very common in the homes. And women, being the patriarchal families, women are victims. They don't open their mouths. If homes are broken up, children are at risk. Their lives are at risk. There are many questions which cannot be answered when families break up. So women silently they are bearing it, whether it is financial abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. But unless women come out and share the problems openly, and non-government organizations and courts they take proper decisions, this abuse cannot be stopped. It continues and continues. Okay, when individuals understand how verbal abuse may be presented, they can better analyze and act accordingly in certain situations. So first of all, a person should understand whether they are abused or whether they are victimized. And if they understand that they are victimized, they should come out and speak. They should not think that it is a shameful thing to share. Most of the time, people say, they say, if you share your problems, you are at risk. But God has given created both men and women equally, and no one should um, abuse the other in the marriage life. So, accusations, denial of wrongdoing. One who is abusing, he will never admit. Okay, so that is the biggest problem in India and Indian penal codes. They will be asking the proofs for accusations and for abuse, verbal abuse. It is very difficult to show the mm, what to say, uh, to show the proofs in the court, witnesses in the court. So nowadays they are recording it. Okay. So for protection reasons, you can search the internet. If you are a victim or if you find anyone who is a victim near your vicinity, you can guide them through internet. You can download the material. You can see the um, numbers of the non-government organizations and then support them. Till then, you have to support them financially. Now, see, most of the women, they just sit and cry. They will blame themselves, saying, "Why did my mother give birth?" Or "This is because of my inability." But stop blaming yourself. Whenever you strengthen the person, strengthen the victim, not to blame themselves. Work on an exit plan. What is working on an exit plan? They should know how they should come out of this domestic violence. Okay? Then you must build a support network. Who are the people in the world? If 90 people are supporting the abuser, at least 10% are there who will support you to come out of this domestic violence. So build a support and network with them. Then make your mental and physical health priority. First of all, you have to keep up your health. You have to take good food, borrow or beg, but see that your mental health is okay. If you go into depression, it is very difficult, and it is a support for the abuser. So first you have to establish boundaries with the abuser. If the abuser is a husband or anyone who is near you, children nowadays, in such cases also, you have to build boundaries. You don't give chance for those people to come near you. Okay? Build a boundary, establish a boundary with the abuser. Then realize you can't fix an abusive person. It is very difficult. Fixing means proving that this particular person is an abuser. They don't accept, but it is a mental issue. This happens only when the person is mentally disturbed. Okay? So, you have to seek the help of a psychiatrist. You must seek the help of social organizations to prove that that particular person is an abuser. Okay? Then common forms of verbal abuse includes withholding information. If your partner, especially in this poem, we are seeing that uh, domestic violence against women. So, if the partner, if the husband is not giving information or failing to share thoughts and feelings, or verbal or emotional abuse is never justified. There should be transparency between husband and wife. Both should be transparent. If financially, if the person is not sharing or hiding things without informing to the partner, then it is a that is also an abuse, verbal abuse. And by refusing to engage with the verbal abuser, you can show them that you won't put up with the behavior. You have to send a message that you don't want to continue to listen to the same what to say, you should the same type of life, and that you should not be victimized. Okay, and you should have some knowledge, read about it, and then first speak to the partner, say that it is not good. If the person is not listening to you, then you approach the non organizations, and first of all with the close friends and relatives, you see that the problem is solved. Even if it is not solved, approach the police station. See here, with verbal abuse, how people are speaking, and see the status of this woman. Don't go into depression. You are not born to go into depression because of somebody's words. Steps to be taken to help victims. If you know someone who is victimized in domestic violence, listen to and believe survivors. Some people, those who are strong enough or determination, with great determination, some people will come out and they will survive with this domestic violence. Listen to their stories, how they came out from that particular domestic violence. Listen to them and take support from them. Those people will definitely help you, and tell someone about the abuse. You try to tell. If you are silent, that means you are accepting domestic violence. Your silence is itself a violence. So, when you are under the domestic violence, you have to open up your mouth, speak out with survivors, you speak out with non government organizations, and take support, experts, and support them. If you know someone who is a victim, then what should you do? You have to support them financially till they are stable. Help victims get ready to escape abuse. It is the other person is not your property. Your spouse is not your property to abuse. As long as you are according to the rules and regulations of the wedding, you can continue your life. But you have no right to abuse. Assist an abuse survivor financially. Link domestic violence survivors with legal support. You can even take the legal support. Learn the signs of abuse and how you can help. Obtain protection orders, residence orders, and monetary relief. Even all these things you are supposed to take. Okay? For protection, you can take the orders from High Court or Supreme Court or whatever it is. Okay? In our country, we consider high courts and supreme courts law and order. So that gives protection that the person will not abuse you. Okay, so that the person will not come into your residence, and they have to give monetary relief. Okay, for that also you can take the orders from the government. Take technical support approach. Human Rights Commission. Human Rights Commission is always with you. Don't be ashamed. Okay, if somebody is a victim, you support them technically and help them to approach Human Rights Commission. But don't end your life. There are good people who supports you. Have hope. Go on telling to everyone that you are abused. Then you will find some people who will support you and uplift you from this. Come out of it and support the other people also. Above all, God, your creator, is your refuge, strength, and guide. Depend upon God. Cry to the Lord, your creator, and God will take revenge. And God's revenge is so perfect that no Supreme Court or the highest court of any country can give the verdict. God's verdict is final. So don't be discouraged. Don't go into depression, and help. If you find some victims, support them in all aspects. God the Creator is a perfect judge who cannot be bribed. Here, the abuser may give bribe. He may bribe the judges or the court or people who are talking, who are supporting you. He may withdraw the support. But God is always there, a perfect judge. Okay? Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, one and all.